To Game Week 13 of the Premium Player FPL podcast. Finally, we both had a good game week, which makes a change. I've lost my trail of thought, but yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope everyone's having a good season. If you're not following us already, follow us on Twitter at @premium_FPL. Lots obviously happened in the football world this week. Ollie's gone. Mr. Mindy will be happy with that. Getting in a German reject, which will be a nice positive change. Are you happy about the change?
It's better than Steve Bruce, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of what's happening. There's some stuff I've read suggests that this Ralph guy actually understands tactics, so it can't be worse than Ollie if it's just an interim.
His first line, I think, of his Wikipedia said he's like really big into tactics and pressing. I think Woodward's obviously just got on his wiki and thought, yeah, he's the man.
Regarding your intro, I had a red arrow this week, so I don't know what you mean. We both had good game weeks. Did you have a green arrow?
Yeah, I had a green arrow.
All right, well, speak for yourself then.
Oh, I thought you had a good game week.
No, well, I had a red arrow. I think the
still got over really 60 points.
Yeah, I think the average amongst the top managers, like top 10k, top 100k, or whatever, it was up in like I think it was something like 70 or something because of all the wingbacks. Like, we'll talk about the wingbacks, but yeah, all of them.
I knew you had a shit game week. I just said it for a laugh, just to see what you'd say.
Yeah. The fact, if you hadn't have just lost your train of thought as soon as you said it, like you had no conviction in what you were saying, so you could see it just doesn't hold. But anyway, let's crack on with admin. So it's a Thursday, recording a bit later than usual, which is a positive really, because it means we can react to the Chilwell injury, which we wouldn't have done if we'd recorded earlier. Saturday deadline again, and if you listen live, please get any questions in the YouTube comments. We'll answer as we go, and hit the like, subscribe buttons. And if you've not following on Twitter or Instagram, drop us a follow on there. And the running order this week. So yeah, wingbacks, it's insane at the moment. Just so many wingbacks that aren't playing as defenders. They're basically midfielders, like pretty amazing midfielders as well, some of them. Antonio, is he someone that we need to look at losing? Stats have fallen quite a bit, and dropping to a cheaper forward maybe makes it easier to afford the big four at the back, if that's what people are looking at. And then yeah, we talked a bit about United, but some stuff to chat about City. Diaz not playing, Foden's blanked 3 games in a row. Let's see what Callum says about City. And then we'll do the weekly regular look at captains and transfers and fixture swings coming up.
Yeah, Diaz is a funny one, isn't it? A few weeks ago we were saying he was the nailed way into the City defence, and I think Cancelo's the only person to have started every single City game this season, which, yeah, interesting to see how that goes going forward.
I might be wrong. I think did Diaz get rested after the last international break as well?
Yeah.
So I mean, now that he's had that rest, he might just now play the rest. But yeah, we'll talk about him more later.
Yeah, it's inevitable that Cancelo will get a rest at some point, especially over Christmas. But yeah, more likely to play than not. We'll move into the game week review that was, like you said, the wingbacks came good for me, 77 points. Brought in Ramsdale for Sanchez. What a waste of a transfer in the end. Against Liverpool, I was hoping for a bit of a save points, but that's probably a transfer. I wanted to get Ramsdale in anyway, because most people around me now have Ramsdale, and I think that Arsenal defence is a lot better than Brighton's. And then Cancelo, 12, Chilwell, 9, Alexander-Arnold, 15, James, 12, Livramento finally blanked 1 point, trusting to bring him in. So actually had 5 at the back this week. Foden, 1, bit disappointed. Salah, 16, captain. Benrahma, 2, blank again, looking like he's going to go. And then Tony finally got his goal, and Antonio blanked again, which we're going to talk about. Yeah, interesting that the midfielders and attackers getting next to no points recently.
So it must have been a nice green arrow for you, that a nice rank rise.
Yeah, I think it was from 900,000 to 600,000 now, so moving in the right direction.
Yeah, 300k rank rise, decent.
We'll move on to yours.
My team, so I'll run through the players that are different to yours, really. So I've got Chilwell, which was decent at the time, not great now that he's injured, but Alexander-Arnold. Oh, well, you've got him as well, but it's worth just flagging, I guess. With you mentioned you've got Alexander-Arnold, haven't you?
Yeah.
There's quite a few people. After he missed a little bit of time, a lot of people didn't go back to him. So some people scrambling now to get back.
Yeah.
I would recommend that move to people still, because we're going to talk like it's not too late to get him, especially with all the games coming up. It's the busy part of the year, and you'd say he's one of the more nailed ones out of the attacking wing backs. Like he's not got like someone on the level of Tsimikas to compete with, like Robertson has on the other side. Midfielders. So yeah, Salah captain, standard. Smith Rowe finally blanked. He was due a blank after scoring with every shot in the past, in what felt like every shot in the past few games, getting quite lucky. Foden, yeah, we'll talk about him later. Yeah, ever since I've got him, he's not got any points, which is a little bit annoying, but it happens that way sometimes. And Bomo at the post again. Bloody loves the post.
Yeah, and Tony followed in, didn't he? Tony was just offside, so it was almost like it was a double whammy if you had the double up for sure.
He must be on for the record for hitting the woodwork in a season. Maybe that's what he's going for. And then my transfer last week was I made 2, didn't I? Yeah. So the most annoying thing of my game week is that I took out Rudiger. So that I could afford Kane, and obviously Rudiger scored within the first half of that game. So that was a bad emotional start to the game week. But I do think that I think the thinking was I don't want Rudiger long term, because even though he scored in that game, his goal and assist threat isn't the same as Chilwell and James. So if I am to go back to another Chelsea defender at some point, it'll be James, not Rudiger. Although the pro of Rudiger is the fact that obviously he's so nailed on. Like he's going to play 9 of every 10 games. But yeah, I took that decision so I can afford Kane. At the moment, slightly not sure about it. Kane did look better in the Tottenham game, but not. He looks better than Son. So I think I'm hopefully made the right call in terms of which Tottenham player to get, but still just didn't look. Tottenham just didn't look that convincing, did they? Did you see any of that game?
Yes, I did. Yeah. They didn't look great, and as we're recording now, they're actually getting beat off NS Mura in the Conference League. And interestingly, Kane's playing that game. Son's on the bench. They just had a man sent off as well. So yeah, it's not going to be the instant, like it was very much like a bitty game, wasn't it, against Leeds? Like 2 teams out of form. Obviously, Dan James taking the lead.
Is it Tottenham that had a man sent off?
Yeah, this game now, yeah. Ryan Sessegnon.
Right.
So yeah, looks like Reguilon's got his place, because there was a bit of concern, wasn't it, that said Sessegnon might be a better wing back under Conte, but if he's getting sent off in his first appearance, that's not too good. Better not talk about that game too much, because it'll probably end up 6-1 and this conversation will be irrelevant, but you never know.
Yeah, so that meant that score meant I had a red arrow, as mentioned before. So I think it was only a small one. So what was it? Oh no, it was 50k rank drop actually. It's quite a big, not a big, but yeah, a decent sized red arrow from 50k places dropped. So I just got to hope really that over the next few, Kane justifies, that move. We'll have to see.
Do you think Chilwell's, like, I saw him come off the pictures, but I didn't watch the game. Is he going to be out for a long term, or? There's been no.
There's,
He's not
there's
said
not there's
anything
not
yet, has
no, I've not seen anything.
you
He
never know.
walked
It
off the
might be
pitch.
miraculous recovery. You don't never know. With knees, it tends to not be, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, I saw a quote from Tuchel saying he felt a sharp pain in his knee,
That doesn't
and that's
sound
all.
like a knock, does it?
Yeah. So yeah, we need to wait for the press conference tomorrow. Tuchel's usually quite good at being clear. I think he's not as bad as like Ollie. Not that Ollie's a manager in the league anymore, but at least he tends to be quite upfront about what's going on. So yeah, if he's out for anything more than 2 or 3 weeks, I think it'll be moving him on. Otherwise, I might just keep him. If it's going to be like just a week or something, I might just keep him. But we'll talk about Chilwell replacements in a bit, just in case he is out for a while.
Yeah, I'm 0.1 short of the transfer that I want to make, but I'll talk about that later. So the next topic is going to be about obviously the wingbacks. Everyone scoring big with the 4. You just shared this earlier, didn't you, about whether it's worth, if you haven't got these 4, to bring them in just because of the combined ownership now.
Yeah, so caught a little bit of the FPL wire boys. So I saw this in there. So thanks to them for flagging this stat. It's quite striking. Like you think that like people talk about differentials and is it too late to get this player now? Everyone's got owned. Do I need to look elsewhere? Well, the amount of people that have those combination of players, like you'd think that it'd be more than that. But yeah, so in the top 10k, that combination's owned by 48%. So yeah, and then if you factor Chilwell, once you add Chilwell into that as well, I know now that he's injured, but say if you'd had last week Chilwell, James, and those 3, I think it was something like maybe like 8 or 10% of the top 10k that had that combination. So it's that thing like rather than looking for individual differentials, it's like a compound differential of making sure you've got the right combination of players, like because not everyone's going to have all of them. So it is still worth getting Reece James. Basically, is what I was getting at with this.
I think I watched the Wire as well, and it was 48% with Chilwell as well. So it'd be interesting to see if Chilwell's out, what the James this 4 rise from 48%. It might be like 80 by the end of the game week.
Yeah. So there'll be a lot of people making that move. Do you want to move on to the next slide?
Yeah.
So yeah, here we can just see like how crazy it is for the top 3 compared to the others. It's interesting that even though James has been in the point so much recently, that Alexander-Arnold still outstats him by quite a distance. It's just an absolute phenom, isn't he?
Yeah. So just to talk about this for anyone listening on the podcast. So this is total expected goal involvements from game week 1 to 12, and yeah, Trent out in front 5.7, which is ridiculous. It's almost like a premium midfielder. Cancelo 4.3, James 3.7, Chilwell 2.9, a bit of a drop off to Chilwell, and then Pinnock 2.5 is the best of the rest, and then there's kind of a bunch of people there from like 2 to 2.5. So yeah, those 3 in particular, I think if you had Chilwell and not James, then that would probably have been a transfer up for discussion anyway. But I think the fact that he's injured, that only cements it further.
Yeah. So one thing I was going to mention here. So on one of the other stats tables I was looking at, I'm just waiting for it to load again. But would you look at Alonso maybe?
Yeah. So is it Big Man Backer was doing a summary of the 3, and Alonso was rivaling Chilwell. James was still very much out in front, but I think Alonso was kind of getting similar numbers to Chilwell. So yeah, if Chilwell's out for, I know Azpilicueta came on midweek, doesn't it? But I don't know if that would. He was said after the game that he felt sorry for Alonso because that substitution was kind of rushed because Azpilicueta was coming on anyway. and he just brought him on for Chilwell because he was already warmed up, ready to go. So yeah, he said he would have brought on Alonso in any other situation. So yeah, if Chilwell's out for, I mean, they got United at home at the weekend. That's probably, I'd say, any other season that's a difficult fixture. I wouldn't bring in ahead of that, but that's probably one of the easiest fixtures at the moment, isn't it? So yeah, I'd definitely, if I've only got Chilwell, it's an easy transfer for me this week.
Which one, to James or to Alonso?
To James, yeah.
Because do you not think maybe there's an argument that now that Chilwell's injured and given the amount of games that Reece James has just played, and with the fixture congestion coming, that Alonso's now more nailed on than James?
Potentially, yeah. But I said last week with the title the way it is at the moment, and James playing as well as he is,
yeah,
I do think there'll be less rotation amongst the top three, and we've kind of seen that already. Pep's teams as well in the Premier League's been less rotate. There'll still be some rotation over Christmas, don't get me wrong, but I don't think there'll be as much as what Tuchel was doing when he first joined in the Premier League.
Yeah. So just on the I am inclined to agree, but just to play devil's advocate. So the next games for Chelsea are 28th of November, 1st of December, and then the 4th of December. So it's
it probably gets 2 out of 3, doesn't it? You'd think.
Yeah, and so it's United, Watford, then West Ham. So looking at that, I mean, it's guessing here, but you'd think he'd miss the Watford one, right? It makes sense to play him against United and West Ham, which are the two harder ones. But yeah, it's just something to think about for people, isn't it? I think Alonso is a viable option, especially given the fact that when he was in the team ahead of Chilwell, he was like up until that game in the Champions League where he had a bit of a nightmare. He was doing great in the Premier League. So and yeah, I've just managed to pick up his stats here now. So his XG when he was playing, his expected goal involvement was 0.27, whereas Chilwell's is, like, if you think about how many points Chilwell's got recently, like Alonso's expected goal involvement is higher than Chilwell's. So yeah, it's another option there.
I think if you do have only Chilwell, then it probably is James or Alonso. Like I said, I'd switch to another Chelsea defender. I think it's difficult if you've got James and Chilwell. I'm actually looking to move on to Reguilon. As you can see down here, though, he's 1.9, but that must be rising under Conte. You'd think it'd be a lot lower than that before Conte's arrived, because his stats have been really good, haven't they? The past week, he obviously got a goal against Leeds. So I'm that way inclined and kind of getting the money into my midfield and attack to move on to Jota and people like that.
Are you? What's your formation at the moment? You for?
Yeah, 4-4-2, 4-3-3, depending. Just because I kind of want to keep a bench player, a Livramento and one over the Christmas period, that you can kind of move in and out.
Yeah, there is going to be an increased need for the bench, isn't there, over this period?
Yeah.
I've seen some people talking about, going 5 at the back. Like, what would you think of that? Like having Trent, Cancelo, James, Alonso, and Rudiger or Diaz or something.
I think I learned the hard way. Like, flexibility is key in FPL, isn't it? Like, everyone obviously had the 3. Well, people who went for the 3 emailers, I look like a bit of a mug for doing that now. But like, move it. If you put all your money in attack and the game switches to defense, it's quite hard to change the team back. And if you put all your money in defense and then Ronaldo and Kane start scoring bucket loads of goals, it's quite difficult to get your money back up front. So I think when these trends kind of develop, follow them, but don't literally sandwich yourself. So it's quite difficult to move.
It wasn't going for the threemium that made you look like a mug. That just enhanced it. You already did look like a mug.
All right, thank you for that.
Just the weekly insult. I think it's become like a tradition.
It feels like a lifetime ago, the threemium, doesn't it? Lukaku and Ronaldo. Fucking hell, whatever happened to them?
He might be back soon as well, Lukaku.
Troll. He's a troll.
Well, is he in your bad books now? He's never coming into your team again?
It'll probably be him only when he scores at the weekend. But yeah, I do want to get Kane, Ronaldo, or Lukaku in at some point. But yeah, it's just finding out which one. Obviously, you've gone for Kane. We're going to move on to the strikers. But yeah, I do think one of them is going to become, well, one of the three is going to be must-have over Christmas, I think, just because the schedules for this particular Tottenham and United are quite favourable.
Yeah, like as I was saying last week, that's part of my thinking with getting Kane in. It wasn't necessarily that I really wanted Kane, but having that money up there up front makes it easy to get Lukaku or Ronaldo or whatever, whichever one you decide you want for that run of games when the fixtures turn. But yeah, should we move on to the strikers now while we're talking about it? Is that next?
Yeah. So these stats are from the Fantasy Football Hub. Big Man Back had put it on his thread, and it's just great visuals to sum up like when you're trying to make a decision. So this one's around the total big chances over the last 4 game weeks. That's count there 9 to 12. So as you can see here, King and Benteke leading the way with 7, which is quite impressive, really. Salah's trailing them with 5, and Aubameyang, Mane 4. And then there's a raft of midfielders there alongside Jimenez, Bernardo, Gundogan, Zaha, Jota, Havertz, Sterling, Foden. Foden, and amongst others in 2. And interestingly, Mikel Antonio doesn't make the list with 1 big chance in the last 4 game weeks, which is going to be interesting. Tough schedule. Everyone knows he's had a tough schedule. His fixtures actually get easier, don't they? It's whether you hold on for the next 2 or 3, and then after that they get easier again. So it's going to be an interesting decision this week.
Yeah, so he's had 1 shot on target over that period, which is, and his next game City, and yeah, it's game week 16, I think, is it, where the fixtures get easier,
right? So,
but I just wonder now. Yeah, so in game week 16, it's Burnley away, but before that he's got City, Brighton, and Chelsea.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that is Antonio even the best option at West Ham at the moment? You know, like Bowen's actually getting more points, and his stats are better at the moment. So yeah, like I remember at the start of the season, when we were both on Benrahma, but Bowen's stats were better than Benrahma's then, but he just wasn't getting the points. Whereas now it's like he is, like, the stats have come good and he is delivering. So I've seen a lot of people saying they are going to come off Antonio, and when the fixtures turn for West Ham, they might go to Bowen instead if he's still on form. So that's something to think about.
I think the problem, what makes it difficult, is there's no other. Well, the strike hasn't really emerged yet. Well, King and Benteke are getting the points, but it almost takes like a bandwagon for people to jump on. Like a King and Benteke kind of crossing your mind at all?
Not Benteke as much, because I'm not really sure if he's nailed on with Odson Edouard there as well. Don't know what you think about that. He's been playing a lot. Like he looks to have that position, but I just think it's one of those that could easily change.
Yeah, we all know how good he was back in the day. Shout out to my brother who actually got on Josh King very early, and he's got a raft of points last 4 or 5 game weeks.
Wow. But Josh King at 5.6, like from game week 16 onwards, the fixtures look good. Brentford, Burnley, Palace, Wolves. So yeah, I mean, he's got Leicester this week as well, but then he's got 2 hard games, Chelsea and City. But
at 5.6, you can afford to bench him, can't you?
Yeah, if your team's good enough, you could get him in this week, play him against Leicester, then bench him for Chelsea, City, and then you've got him ready for that good run from game week 16 onwards. Because with Josh King, like I can't see him being rested. Like it looks quite settled, that triumvirate up front, Sarr on the right, Dennis or Denise, don't know how you say it. It's probably not Dennis, but we're good.
I prefer that latter pronunciation. Can you just talk us through that again?
Well, it'll be the French, won't it? Is he French? Where is he actually from? I'm sure in France they don't call him Dennis.
He's from Bury.
He's from Bury. No, he's from Nigeria. So Emmanuel Denis. Like it's not Emmanuel Dennis, is it? Like it doesn't quite roll right, does it? Anyway, so and then it was bizarre watching. Like obviously, I was watching that Watford United game at the weekend. Saw missing both his pens. So if Josh King could be on pens now as well, another string to his bow.
Yeah, well, yeah, 2 awful penalties. Yeah, you never know.
So yeah, you've got tricky players on the wings, Dennis the Menace and Sarr to win the pens as well. So yeah, I think King is the one between King and Benteke anyway. What about people who've not got like Tony? Would you recommend? I think if you've not got Tony, he's probably the better one because he's on pens as well.
Yeah, interestingly, he's not on this list either, which suggests he's had one big chance in the last 4 games. It was only last weekend he played really well, didn't it? Before that, he was looking a bit iffy, but last weekend he actually looked really good. We've talked about Mbumu hitting the post and Tony following in, but just offside, and then got his goal. He's a real handful against his former team. So yeah, maybe that was the confidence that he kind of needed. I don't know. Brentford coming to the end of their kind of good fixtures. They got Everton, Tottenham, which is a tricky game now under Conte, and then Leeds, Watford. So yeah, they've still fixtures are still there, aren't they? But interestingly, he's not on that list. Having looked at these stats now, I'm tempted to downgrade. It all depends on the Chilwell injury, though. Downgrade Antonio to King and then kind of free up the money for Jota, because I do think Jota with Firmino out and then Mane and Salah off to AFCON at late December. So there's probably only a couple of games there where you're kind of worried whether Jota will start or not. And we all know his stats when he does start. So I think he's the one that you kind of... Chilwell kind of complicates things, but I think he's the player for me to get in this week.
Yeah. As someone who doesn't own Jota and was considering doing Mount to Jota last week instead of getting Kane, it was quite annoying that watching that game, hoping he doesn't do anything, and then
he should have got more than a goal as well.
But the goal he actually got, like, it was Arsenal's right back just like passing it to him.
Yeah.
But I guess the argument of that is that when you're the number 9 in a team leading the line, like those chances are
the best attacking team as well in the league. You are going
to force those mistakes out of players.
Yeah, I just think Liverpool going forward, they're the best attacking team in the league by quite a distance. What makes City so good is like the methodical with the approach, like they kind of just dominate team. But in terms of like an actual attacking, well, we all see what Liverpool did to United compared to City. It's both dominating performances, but City win 2-0, whereas obviously Liverpool are thrashing. But yeah, so the number 9 in that team, yeah, he's the one that I kind of want to target this week.
Nice. Do we actually know when Firmino's back? I've not seen like a proper date yet.
Mid-December, I saw at some point. I don't know whether that's changed now.
No. Fair, yeah. But as you say, even when Firmino comes back, you then got AFCON not long after. So,
and Liverpool have sealed the qualification to the Champions League as well. So next game, well, top aren't they 15? Whether Klopp want to go all out for the 6 wins or not, whether that's a mental thing. But yeah, he might get a rest in the Champions League as well, which will help.
Cool. And then just before we move on, we should give an honourable mention to Jimenez ticking over.
Yeah, solid.
The only thing with Wolves now is their fixtures get quite hard soon. So in Gameweek, they've got 2 good ones left of their run, Norwich and Burnley. But then they've got Liverpool and City back-to-back in Gameweeks 15 and 16. And then Chelsea in Gameweek 18. So I think that would maybe put me off a little bit from Jimenez.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I think his good fixtures have gone, aren't they? Come and gone.
So, and also you're not really saving much money. I don't think you're saving anything by moving to Jimenez. You can't really do anything if you make that move. You're not getting any money in the bank to make an upgrade elsewhere. But yeah, it's just pleasing to see him doing well, isn't it? After what happened to him last season.
And Vardy's still on that list too. blanked 4 games I've had him in now. 4 quite favourable fixtures as well, and they've still got Watford and a couple of other nice fixtures to come. So, what to do with him? I think keep for the Watford game, and then, but if he blanks again, it's just gonna be like, well, what do you expect? But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, that game.
Yeah, I think Leicester just don't really look at it at the moment, do they? They just don't. They just, yeah. I've seen a lot of people saying, well, they're a team playing like their manager's distracted, which is maybe an easy narrative, but they don't look like the coordinated team that they've done at their best, do they? So, and I just think that is hurting Vardy. They're just not playing well enough for him to get the chances that he needs. So yeah, I'd be I think I'd be looking to move on Vardy.
Interesting. Hopefully, a premium will emerge. No Ronaldo on that list, of course. So we'll move on to. Speaking of Ronaldo, we'll move on to if it moves. There we go. So these are the fixtures for City on the left and United on the right to come. Obviously, myself, a City fan. Mindy, a United fan. Interestingly, we talked about Foden's last couple of blankings, and a man that's going under the radar is Bernardo Silva. I think he's matching Foden stats wise. His points, his City's second top scorer now in FPL, behind obviously the man João Cancelo. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I think if Jota wasn't such a good option, probably the switch from Foden to Jota would be interesting. And obviously, Foden didn't play the Champions League game in midweek, so we obviously got that to deal with as well. But yeah, nice run now for City. So
he's $1 million cheaper than Foden as well, Bernardo.
Yeah, there seems to be some players. Last year it was Jack Harrison and Rafinha. Jack Harrison, I think, got more points than Rafinha in the season, and just never got the ownership. So there is definitely like an ownership factor when it comes to these players.
He's just kind of seen not as a fashionable pick, is he? He's like just.
Yeah.
I think it's because when he does well, like he doesn't. Sorry, he doesn't get like double digit ors, does he? It's like a goal or an assist, and he ticks up. He's a bit like Mount in that regard. Like apart from Mount's hat trick the other week, which obviously you loved. Last season, Mount was known for just ticking over, getting a trickle of points. So yeah, but David Silva was a great option at times for City in a similar way. Just ticked over points. Good person to just put in your team and just leave them there for the season. So yeah, anybody who got Bernardo for this from the fixtures, they'll be quite happy, won't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So what are your thoughts on Diaz then? People that own Diaz, what would you be doing?
Diaz, yeah. Interesting. I think if you've got Chilwell, obviously you're gonna have to move him on first. I had Diaz on early on in the season, and I was trolled in a way. Obviously, got the missed game, international break, which happened again. I just think the way the season's gone this year, I just think the wingbacks are so superior to set. Obviously, Rudiger is kind of matching fullbacks. He kind of define stats, but yeah, I just prefer the fullbacks, especially when we've got Regulon now as we're two entering the conversation.
Yeah, so would you move Diaz then to?
If I didn't have any other transfers, I don't say it was a pressing transfer because, like you said, he's got his rest now. City obviously top of the Champions League group, so he might get another rest in the way at Leipzig. That might be his rest over the Christmas period. Obviously, no Carabao Cup for City now. RIP.
You wouldn't do it for a hit?
The Diaz to another, probably not this week, no.
I just kind of think there's never really going to be a good week to do it, though, is there? Because there's always going to be something else you've got to do, like because there's people are going to have to get Kane soon or whatever, or a United player. People are looking at Ronaldo, like, even though, like, we'll talk about United soon with the fixtures, but no matter who's the manager, some of those games, people would be still considering United forward players, maybe not the defenders. So yeah, there's going to be like injuries and whatever. Like I think you just got to look at it like over a 6-game, like this is what the Wire Boys were saying, over a 6-game period, that -4 will pay off with the attacking returns the way they're playing. So I don't know, like if you took that hit maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, obviously you wouldn't be looking back, would you? You'd be rolling in points. So I think if that continues, I think maybe it's like I'm surprised you're not recommending it for a hit, given your propensity for a hit this season. You take a hit for anything this season. So I think like Diaz to Reece James, for example, is a transfer that could be worth a -4.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Same with Trent. If you've not got him, and you're one of the people that got rid, just because the attacking returns are just so high for the wingbacks. Anything else to say on City?
Not really, other than great fixtures coming up. We all know midfield and forwards rotation. If you've not got Cancelo already, what you do? That assist at the weekend with filth. He tried it again last night as well. Jesus for own goal, just missed. The keeper made a good save. So yeah, Cancelo is a must-have now. He's probably with Trent, and we've obviously talked previously about wingback, but Trent, Cancelo, and Salah are basically must-haves, aren't they?
Yeah, it was an elite assist at the weekend. Unbelievable.
So we'll start United, right? Look at those tasty fixtures. Ronaldo will be back in everyone's team in no time.
Well, I mean, the immediate coming two aren't great. Chelsea and Arsenal. Like Chelsea away is probably the toughest fixture in the calendar, maybe at the moment. But yeah, from game week 15, Palace, Norwich, Brentford, Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley. So yeah, if we get this pressing mastermind in, and he's managed to teach the players how to run in a pattern, don't just go off by themselves like headless chickens like they did against Liverpool.
How's your OAP up top going to deal with that pressing?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like some of the other players are going to have to do twice the amount. So yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, with Ronaldo? I mean, other teams have managed to make it work, like having Ronaldo as a more stationary person and the others doing more of the running. It's just you've just got to think more about how that's going to work, and when are you going to press? What's the trigger, and etc. I don't think Ollie thought about any of that really when he was trying to, especially in the Liverpool game. Like Bruno was running off to press by himself, and they were just passing around him, and then they were just through on goal. But yeah, so I just think those fixtures coming up, Crystal Palace, Norwich, Brentford, Brighton, like there will be goals there for United. There might be goals going in at the other end as well with the way the defence is, but it'll be hard to ignore having some form of United attacking option. It's hard to say at the moment what the best one will be. Like Ronaldo's the obvious one, but when you look at how close some of those games are together, like over that Christmas run, especially if you get him in as a captain option, it could be a little bit risky, because will he be able to do all the games in a row? We'll have to see what the new manager says about all that kind of stuff. So it's a bit up in the air at the moment, but I would maybe just have in the back of your mind a thought about how you're going to get to a United attacking player once we get to those games. So for me, I've got the option of going Kane to Ronaldo when the fixture swing happens for Spurs and United. So that's what I'll be looking at. What are your thoughts on it?
I'll probably look at getting Odion Ighalo in.
What?
Is he still there? No, I'm only joking. It'd be interesting to see over that over the Christmas period what effect it'll have on Ronaldo. We all know these are the kind of fixtures where he kind of stat pads, doesn't he? Talked about Portugal. He loves these smaller teams. Obviously, not comparing Norwich to San Marino. Maybe under Farker potentially. But yeah, these are great fixtures. And we all talked at the start of the season, weren't they? That 14 to 20 was like United's fixtures are some of the easiest fixtures you've ever seen in FPL. So I think if you're not taking that gamble in 15, hopefully United coming off a promising performance against Chelsea and Arsenal, and then 15. Yeah, ready yourself up for an attacker, most likely Ronaldo.
Yeah, I mean, just to sort of give the other side of the coin on that, like you could actually say, like if you look at the fixtures like in a bit more of a nuanced way, Palace under Vieira, they're not the same Palace we thought at the start of the season. Norwich under new management, like one at the weekend. Is there a new manager bounce? Could they be at a completely different Norwich? Brentford have shown, they can mix it with the big teams. Like they've got results at Chelsea and Liverpool, so they're not going to be asked about playing United, are they? So yeah, there's two ways of looking at it, but I do think just all those fixtures in a row that there will, as you say, it's.
But I think you find yourself looking into it too much, don't you? You kind of those fixtures there, as good as those teams have been this season. Like you look at them on paper, like FPL, that's a dream, isn't it?
Yeah, it does happen though, where you get players in just thinking that, oh well, these teams are easy on paper, and they're not playing on paper, are they? So it is worth thinking about, like how teams have changed. Like, but yeah, I do take your point. I shouldn't overthink it.
We'll move on to the last segment, which is the premium player segment. Computers doesn't want to load. There we go. So this is fixtures over the next 5, and who we're going to captain over the next 5. As you can see there, Liverpool third, and when you've already got the best player in FPL, best player in the Premier League, he's kind of going to dominate the conversation again, isn't it? Leicester there, those who've hung on to Jamie Vardy, the next 4 on paper, Watford, Southampton, Villa, Newcastle, are decent. So interesting. Probably not going to captain him, but interesting there. Tottenham, we all know these good fixtures under Conte: Burnley, Brentford, Norwich, Brighton, Leicester, City 5th, Chelsea mid-table. Are you looking at anyone other than Salah over these next 5?
No. That's the short answer to that question. It's just no point. I think, yeah, it's just his stats are still ridiculous.
What about the wingbacks? We've just picked them up.
We have just picked them up, yeah, but
like Chelsea play Watford 14, Liverpool, Everton, but Everton are shocking.
It's just Salah's consistency. Like, I think is there only one game he's not got a return in this season. So. And the amount of double-digit goals he gets, it's like, so he's got, like, his attacking threat is, he's got like the assist and goal threat together, which, and yeah, it's just the fact that he's got that increased assist threat this season, which he didn't have in other seasons. I think it's just too hard to look past him while he's in this vein of form. It is of the wing backs. I think Trent would be the one I'd maybe look at, but then it's you'd still go Salah over Trent. The reason I wouldn't look at Reece James is just if you put your captain on him and that's the game he gets rested, you're a bit screwed, aren't you?
Same with Cancelo, isn't it? The Watford 15, where he might be tempted. That could be his game that he gets ready. So yeah, at least I don't remember Salah ever getting rested. He gets rested the odd game, doesn't he? But rarely. He's a bit.
I remember one time. I remember a game last season where he got rested against Palace, and then
he came on, got a hat trick. Was it?
Came on and got brace, I think.
Was it brace?
So yeah. So I just I'm not. I think like we were talking before about how you can people like it's not really about differentials and stuff at the moment. Like just make sensible decisions and hope that having all the right players and right decisions across your team. Like not everyone's going to be making those decisions across their team, like we saw with the percentage ownership for having Cancelo, Trent, Chilwell, and Salah. Like it's not as high as you think it'd be. So I think just still stay sensible with the captain on Salah at the moment, and hope to get points elsewhere that other people aren't getting.
Yeah, this segment's getting very boring. Premium planning, isn't it?
Well, what about fixture swings? Is there anything like it's interesting here that like you were saying about Leicester. So I've got Kane in for Vardy for this run. It'd be so annoying now if Vardy outscores. outscores Kane. But
it's interesting, Vardy. Leicester looks so bad, but then the next 4, like it's not even as if it's Palace and Brentford, who you talked about against Ronaldo, teams that aren't playing well. You've got Watford, Southampton, Aston Villa, where you got new manager bounce there, Gerrard, Newcastle. But those 4 on paper, those teams aren't lighting up the league this season, are they?
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't know. I think just the fact that Leicester are in a bit of a rut is what would. So I think sometimes like you do have to factor in just form of the team, like as well as the fixtures. It's like I think that's kind of what makes a lot of the best FPL managers really good, is that they kind of know how to weigh up the balance between not being completely form, not being completely fixtures. And yeah, well, I think the main fixture swings we're looking at, we've already talked about United coming up later, and Antonio for West Ham not having a great few, but then they pick up in Gameweek 16. So you were mentioning you teased a transfer before. Do you want to?
Oh yeah, I was 0.1 short of Chilwell and Benrahma to Reguilon and Jota. I can do Emerson Royal instead of Reguilon, but he's not kind of providing the same numbers as Reguilon. So that was my thinking. I might have to change that now, but yeah, definitely looking to get Jota in this week.
Nice. So my original plan was to do Mount to Jota, but now I've got the Chilwell problem, so I need to rethink that. So I'm going to be waiting to see what Tuchel says in the press conferences tomorrow. If he is out for a while, I might have to take a -4, and yeah, I'll probably still move for Jota and then just do Chilwell to James for a hit. But yeah,
I think if Chilwell is miraculously fit or only out for a week, I might look at bringing in Jota for Benrahma and downgrading Antonio to like a Josh King potentially. That might be the way to do it.
Interesting. So yeah, transfers both up in the air for us at the moment. We'll get them out tomorrow on or Saturday morning whenever we make them. But yeah, we best get off. You've got a 7 o'clock deadline for your tea, haven't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm getting it made for me, which is a nice treat.
Second most important deadline of the week, that isn't it? After the FPL one.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. Tea time.
Cool. So yeah, we'll see you next week, and hopefully no more big injuries to key players to ruin all our plans next week. All right. See ya.
Go easy.